Welcome to the Rusted Garden Homestead. Today I'm going to show you how to make your fall winter compost, something that can sit 4, 5, 6 months and you have compost come spring. First rule, if you have nothing started in the fall, you will have nothing come spring. And this whole video is really just about you, as helping you get started making compost. So the leaves are starting to fall. This is a great time to bag your grass and your leaves together and start your fall winter compost. And the ratio is going to be about 2 parts green grass, 1 part browns. Might be leaves, might be some stuff you've been composting or holding on to over the summer that's not quite broken down. So I'm going to go cut some grass. I'll show you how I mix it together. The principle is really simple. The key, get started with your compost now. So this is about a 2-to-1 ratio, 2 parts grass, 1 part leaves. The idea is you want it to look something like this. I'll explain this to you in a second. So 2 bags of leaves and grass from the property, and you can see, that I picked up most of the leaves. Fall is a great time to be cutting the grass, pulling in some leaves, then you end up something like this for your fall winter compost. It's going to sit 4 to 6 months. Very important that you make sure you don't have any weed killers or any kind of poisons that you put on your lawn to kill off insects, weeds, all that kind of stuff. I've been here, I'm going on 3 years come January. There's never been a spray on my lawn. In fact, I let it naturalize over. So I like to take the cuttings, you could dump them into a pile. We'll go over to the compost area in a second. I'll show you how you can add to this. But dump it out and you're just fluffing it through. By doing that, you're aerating it, you're mixing in the browns with the greens. This is going to have plenty of air circulating through this, and you're just going to dump it into a pile. We're going to wet it down, moisten it, because the moisture is what microbiology needs to do its thing, and then you just let it go. Again, if you start with nothing, you end up with nothing. Now you don't need something as elaborate as this. It works well. I have lots of compost going. The whole key is just get started. You don't need to build all this. You could build a pen like I just showed you. We're going to come right back to here in a second. Or you could just do something like this, 4 posts, some wire fencing, and this was all leaves. I will link videos to show you how I made leaf compost and used this space before. But this could be your grass and leaves that you're cutting now, just pour it in there. The whole key is about a 4-foot by 4-foot base, 4 feet high. It can be on the ground. You could throw a tarp over it if you want to, if it's on the ground so the wind doesn't blow it away. It's not that exact. You can, sort of have fun with it. But again, the key is to get it started. So here we have everything that I just made. Again, the ratio of green to brown could be 1-to-1. Or 2 greens to 1 brown. If it's warmer in your area, like 70, 80 degree days, the nights are still warm, you probably don't want as much green nitrogen because it will smell a little bit. But the smell is fine. That means it's breaking down. It's getting cooler here now in Maryland. We're in October, so I like this ratio. You can leave it just like this, wet it down, you're done. But you could add in other things. Like I have a lot of wood ash. Again, I will link more videos to show you how to use this. You might want to just throw in a couple handfuls of wood ash right onto your compost. That's going to add potassium. You don't have to do this, but if you have it, this is one way to do it and not apply it directly to your beds. You can mix it into the compost. Sometimes we have the organic granular. This is perfectly fine, but sometimes it gets wet or it gets messed up, or you don't need it anymore. You could just sprinkle that in too. Get rid of your organic granular that may have gotten wet, and when that happens, it stinks really bad. Now in here is leaf compost that I made last year. I just did a video on it again. Check out the links or check out my channel. Filled it full of leaves. 1 year later it's broken down into this beautiful stuff. Now this is going to be used directly in my garden, but you could also throw some of that in there and you could build up the pile that way. That's pretty much broken down, so I would probably use this right into planting holes or something like that. This was another experiment where I put the same leaves into a brown bag. They broke down nicely, but not all the way. It's still in process. You can see the white there still breaking down. You could throw a bunch of that in there. Then you have your pile set up. with all kinds of different things, but the key being grass and leaves. You chopped up with the mower, you're good to go. After this is done, I might mix it through, so it's worth really picking up some sort of pitchfork or hay fork, and you just fluff it through. Plenty of air in there now for fall and winter. It's really loose, you have the airflow. We just have to add the moisture. Really soak it down. That will help the microbiology stay active and multiply and grow, and they're going to feed off of the nitrogen that heats up the pile. They're going to live off of the brown, the carbons. But this is a slow process. This is all you need to do now to have compost come spring. This is going to sit for 5 months here in Maryland again. You could turn it once. You don't have to keep turning this every week. That's why I don't like the hot composting process. I don't need compost in 30 days or 6 weeks. And it's a pain. I got to come up here and turn it, once or twice a week. Just let this sit. Come spring, worst case is that this doesn't fully break down, but it's broken down nicely. You plant your beds. You use this as a 1 or 2 inch mulch on top of it. It's a compost mulch. It will continue to break down, and it's going to feed your garden beds through the spring. If it's not fully broken down, you don't have to mix it into the soil, but you're going to end up with something that you can use as a compost mulch, a straight compost, but you're going to be a lot happier for it. I highly recommend setting something up like this now. Thanks for watching. Please check out my seed shop at therustedgarden.com, and please check out the video description. I have a new podcast that I'm doing with Callie Kim on the West Coast, and it's all about vegetable gardening.